This is Coach Nickens here at Harley and Photography Studios for our annual Black History Month project. And today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Martine Devis.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well. Thanks for coming through. I know it's been a long time coming, but we're glad to finally have you here. Let's just jump right into it. Tell me about where you're originally from and your cultural background.
Well, my mom was born in Cuba, Santiago de Cuba. That's where my mom was born. And my father was born in Jamaica, but they both were, I would say, met in Haiti and had a lot of kids. I was born in Haiti. and migrated to the US late 70s, early 80s, if I'm not. And so that's basically in terms of my background where I come from.
That's a mix.
Yeah.
So it's like your dad's from Jamaica, mom's from Cuba, and then they both happen to be in Haiti, and they both happen to meet in Haiti, and they start having a bunch of kids.
Yeah, basically. My mom.
It must have been something in the air down there.
I think my mom, she had businesses that traveled back and forth, and then
Gotcha.
and because of that, my dad was an educator, so it was like two different worlds, but ended up having 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, indeed.
That is a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a blessing to have a big family, especially cause nowadays, children are so expensive. Like someone having 8 kids, in this economy is wild. So
and it's funny that you said that because my mom always wanted a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And that was the joke around the house was it's like, Mom, we're not gonna follow your footsteps.
I can imagine. So what are your favorite things about your culture? 'Cause I know for you it's a mix of being Cuban, Jamaican, and also having that layer of being Haitian, so to say.
Well, it was we were in a household that was very active, and being very active, it just like it's almost we were like mostly problem solvers, and then my mom and I, like I said, just the story, it would be like my dad. If we say something in Creole, and then my dad would say we have to say it in French,
Gotcha.
and it's not because that we wanted to say it, but he wanted us to see it like this is not only the world, there's a world out there, so we had to be able to adapt to any situation that we had. We had to let it be. If it would be Creole or French, we would be able to communicate. So that's what I remember our household was, and a lot of love. I can't say enough about that, especially my mom. My mom was like, there's no challenge. There is just another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
There's a different perspective.
Yeah.
That was my mom.
That's definitely, I would say, definitely a Cuban way of thinking. Because as you know, like Cuba is one of those countries where it doesn't have a ton of allies. Although it's like super close to us, like we're not an ally of Cuba. And it's isolated, so they kind of had to figure out things on their own. I mean, it's beautiful. I haven't been there personally, but I know plenty of folks who have, and like they come back with these stories of like, hey, these are some Brazilian people, and they have cars that are from the 80s and 70s, and these cars look brand new. So like they've just kind of figured out like how to just master whatever ecosystem the world gives them, which I think is super cool. I definitely, and I could tell she must have been Brazilian because I could see some of it rubbed off on her kids. So you mentioned she had businesses. Can you tell me about the kind of businesses that she had?
She had, I believe that the first was a restaurant.
Oh.
And then from the restaurant, then it evolved into a shoe store. And then from a shoe store, then it was I would say convenience store.
Gotcha.
So I remember, even when I was little, that I remember that it used to be like, it's almost like a strip mall, that she had all those, the restaurant, the shoe store, and the convenience store. So she was very business oriented and business minded, you know. And my dad, who was like I would say the more quiet one, you know, but she was like the person that was always leading this is, I think it would be a good business venture.
Gotcha.
I think it would be a good something good for us to just like ponder about, you know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so I could tell she kind of must have been like one of your inspirations for becoming a business owner. So.
I would say that. I would say, and yes, I would say that, because whenever that you would present something to my mom, she always look at, okay, you have this idea, so what are you gonna do to make that idea becomes reality?
Yeah.
And kind of like put the ball in your corner and just say, okay, kind of come up with the plan, and then before I can help you to execute the plan. So
Gotcha.
yeah, she was very instrumental.
Yeah, that's one. I think that's one trait I always notice with folks who are like capable of being business owners. They have this ability to make something that's like something intangible, like an idea. Like we all have ideas, but not. There's like a small group of people who can turn that intangible idea to a tangible business, you know, or a tangible venture. So that's pretty cool. Like that she kind of instilled that in you guys. So tell me about your business.
Well, I have an event planner, wedding consultant, and I'm also a florist. And but I have to say that as a career, I'm a registered nurse. So I don't know how is that gonna fit into this, but I was always now I don't want to say a people person, but I was always like to be around people because I grew up with a big family. So I always had people around me.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I had to do something that requires for me to be around people. And that's the reason why that I've went into the career that I would, not only to help people, but in terms of business, I think I love the idea of making that shock and awe, that when you put something together and then you plan an event and the person comes and walked in and just like basically said, oh my God, it's just like that just gives me that like, yes. So I'm an event planner and a wedding consultant. Like I said, I'm a florist. I love decorating. I love putting things together. I love coming up with ideas that people never really thought about, but I like doing that.
Having that eye for like interiors is big, and kind of what a lot of people don't know is I was one of those people actually, believe it or not, that went like wow, because when I came in here, I see you kind of had kind of sprinkled some of your flavor too. I was like, I'm like, because you know, us being a photography studio, like we kind of have to have an eye for like just beauty and how to capture it, but like the interior design, it escapes it sometimes. You know, we use canvases, we use backdrops and that sort of stuff, and we edit it, but having a nice set brings out the studio a lot more than just what we have been doing, and also for video as well. So I was like, wow, because when JB did tell me, he was like, I have a really good friend of mine. She's an event planner. She's gonna come do it up for the studio for the project. I was like, I like that. And I came through. I was like, wow, this is a good look.
So and basically that's what as a business owner, that's what you want your client to really see, and then to transform something into something that they never thought that you could do. Exactly. So it's always a pleasure of mine, and it's always like the minute that a client tells me for me to work with the palette and work with the colors, and I like to be very creative. I think that's where that's my little niche. Yeah. But I love creating. I love putting things together. I just love it.
That's good, because it's you're working in your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It shows for sure. Well, tell me about your first event, like that you did.
Oh my! It was. I cried for a whole week. Really? Because the expectation on what I thought that was gonna come out of it, I thought that I was really so happy that it was my first, and then that I'm gonna put things together and I'm gonna create something, and it did come to fruition, and it was beautiful, and it was and I do have the pictures and all, but I don't think that at that time I was working at my full potential. But being being so wanting to be so perfect, kind of made me. I'm like, did I do right? Did I miss anything? And I probably was hard on myself, but it was a great experience.
That's good.
It was a great experience.
At first, whatever you're doing, like whether it be photography, videography, especially in that event space, because it's like when I used to do photography, on the side, and I did a few events, and I realized like there's a lot of gravity that comes with it, because you're capturing a moment in someone's like life. Because I did birthday parties, I did businesses, and family gatherings, and I realized like this is a serious matter, because after today, they're gonna have to reflect on these photos, and part of that is the backdrop, the design, whether it's a baby shower or it's a wedding, like the event plan. A lot of people don't understand how much like anxiety can come with it, and work, because
that goes behind.
You have to make sure it looks good to look good in photos in the first place. I can't speak for you, but I've been in some places I'm like, y'all should have hired somebody.
Yeah, but this is the thing though, and that's the reason why that I always tell my clients, I can, especially when you having that first meeting, it's always like I always tell them, what do you want to see? Yeah. When you walk into that room, what do you want to see? And what you want to see, that the theme that you have, the idea that you have, that's what I want to capture. And by doing that and by capturing that, so it created that, oh my God, I did the work. And it's a planning, like it's planning something, and planning something requires work. And if you don't do the work, the product of the fruit of your labor, I would say, would not come out the way that you would want it to come out. And that's why I always tell clients that I don't just go and say, okay, no, I want to have a conversation with you about this event. I want to have a conversation about what do you want to see? What do you want to have that feeling when you walk in that room that you just like, oh my God, I didn't expect that. And then it brings me a lot of joy, that when I can do that. And I have to say, it's good to do it, but to have the avenue to do it also, and to have the platform to do it also, it's really, really, really good.
Oh, of course. So what are a few tips you would give, like a few gems you give like inspiring entrepreneurs who are not necessarily someone who's looking at being an event planner, but just in general? Because I think like being an entrepreneur, doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's a few things that all entrepreneurs tend to have in common. So what are a few tips you give?
I truly believe that anything that you do, you need to educate yourself about the business. I mean, you need to educate yourself about why it's power. Why do I want to do this and I don't want to do that? What gravitate me towards wanting to do event planning? And if I have to do event planning, knowing about the business, because once you educate yourself, you'll be able to educate somebody else about it. And if somebody asks you about event planning, you'll be able to say, okay, I'm able to tell you what is event planning. I'm able to tell you what do we do. I'm able to tell you what what I like about event planning, or what I like about wedding consulting, or what I like to about being a florist. So all that, and I always say to actually new beginners that is coming into the industry, that to do the research, educate yourself, and at the same time think about, this is not something that you're doing as a job. It is a career. So there's a lot of planning that's gonna go into it. And I say to people also, in whatever that you do, put God in the middle of it.
I kind of said it better myself. It's like, a lot of people, I think they go into things and like they don't put God into it. They don't pray about it. They just think, I'm just gonna figure it out. I don't need anything. I don't need the universe. I'm like, you need to be humble. You need to realize, in order for you to do big things, it's got to come from you being small to begin with.
Yeah.
You got to start off small. I think some folks are so stuck on, the finished product. I'm like kind of like you were crying after you first. Like, this is not. I want to be magnificent.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, and that is a good thing. And especially right now, we are in a culture that is everything. It's like a microwave generation, and everybody want things like yesterday. Not to put it into, you shouldn't have that attitude, but there is such a preparation that comes in it, that don't try to say that things are gonna go the way that you want it. You're gonna fall and you're gonna get up, and you're gonna fall and you're gonna get up, and you're gonna fall and you're gonna get up. And that's the way that that's one thing I would really, really stress on, especially anybody who wants to go into the industry, because sometime you're gonna have to say, well, it's just not it.
Yeah.
It's just not there. And then you move on.
Yeah, you move on.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing wrong with moving on. But like you said, it's a micro generation. And some people, it's like every 3 months they're like 10 toes deep or something else. And like afterwards, they just like worn out. They're tired. And like I coach a few people. Because having a life coaching business, I kind of just have to just compartmentalize things for people sometimes. And I'm like, if you're tired of giving up, stop quitting. Like you said, if you can educate yourself about something before diving into it 10 toes deep, you kind of know up front, what, I've educated myself, I've taken time to do the research, this might not be the best avenue for me, and I can find something else to do one time. But as opposed to, I'm just going to jump into it, and I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to pray on it, I'm not going to put God in it, I'm just going to, it's going to happen, everything's going to go great. Doesn't work out. It just doesn't.
No, I mean, it does not. But you in everything that you do, you got a plan, because I cannot say, I want to buy a house and I get up. I got a plan. Yeah. There is steps that need to be put forth first before I can make that transition and say, okay, I'm ready, and then I want to purchase a house. But a business, it's something different, because you have so many people relying on you. You have, so many ideas, especially from my industry. We have to have that thought that we got to be brand new every single time.
Yeah, it's competitive.
You know, so as an event planner, I gotta be brand new every single time.
Yeah.
And a lot of time you can get ideas, we can get this, but you gotta be brand new every single time.
Yeah.
And are you gonna get sometime you may plateau and just like, oh, okay, you know, but that's the industry. You gotta be brand new every single time.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I hope anybody who's looking to get into event planning is taking some notes. So who do you consider to be your Black History Month heroes?
I guess if you had asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have tell you Harriet Tubman. And it would have been Harriet Tubman that would have been considered to be, because you've been in studies, in history, and then it would be. And I would say, and as a mother, as a Black woman, as a minority, I have to, without a shadow of a doubt, say Michelle Obama. And the reason why I said it's Michelle Obama, because when you're growing up, you always want to see people that look like you.
Yeah.
But the people that looked like you didn't really were characterized in a way that make them that they were educated, that they were knowledgeable, that they can change the world. And then they are not only they can change, but they could be in a position of power without being so without ruling with absolute power. And because there is that grace about her, there is that that finesse about her. And being a very educated woman, graduated from Princeton University and went on to Harvard. I think she went up to Harvard. She embodied the fact that, you know, and to become the first lady of the United States of America, and we know the history. But as a first lady, no scandal. No one was in the front page of the Enquirer. No one had something that was like the gotcha moment.
Yeah, there was nothing in the past to be revealed.
So it created, and if it did, we dealt with it in a very classic way, that it shows that we were very mature. It shows that we wanted to discuss it in a very mature way. So in terms of somebody that I would look up to and somebody that I did, Michelle Obama would be the person that I would say that I strive to be like her in terms of having that vision that you can be Black in America and be educated and also can be the first lady.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she is very classy, very smart. And that is the person, I have to say that when she speaks, I kind of have to stop a minute and kind of listen, because wisdom, that's what she's usually spewing out.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know? And she has a great book out. Now they're making a movie on her. I mean, that kind of solidified. They don't just give anybody a movie. That kind of solidified it for me, because it was like a lot of Black History Month heroes. Most of them have movies, and it's nice that she's getting her flowers while she's still here to see. Because you know, these movies come out 100, 150 years after the person's passed on. Now it's happening for her while she's still here, which I think is like it's a beautiful thing. You're right. She didn't. I don't think she got enough credit for the fact that, you know, you spend 8 years in the White House, which is, you know, one of the most publicized places, if not the most publicized place in an entire country of 50 states. No scandals, no bad news, and it's crazy because when you're in that position, people don't let you be human. You know, like,
And the expectation also, it's almost to make you feel like, you cannot make mistakes,
Yeah,
that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. But I was reading something that she said that when her daughters moved into the White House, she didn't let anybody make their beds.
oh,
She goes like, no, you can get up and you can fix your own room.
so,
Because you don't, this is, and it, like I said, remind me of what my mother and my father said. The four walls that you live in, that's not the world. And that's basically what I
See that she was trying to teach those two beautiful girls that the White House, that's not the world, because there is a world out there. And you gotta prepare yourself for that world out there, Even when you fall, you're gonna have to get up gracefully.
yeah.
So that's in terms of my Black heroes. I mean, besides her husband, but but Michelle Obama as a woman, as a minority, I think it's my hero.
Yeah.
It's my hero.
I mean, Barack and Michelle represented as well. I'll definitely say. So I know you're hailing from Jamaica and Cuba. What are some of what's a major event in your cultural background that you can attach to Black History Month that means a lot to you?
Well, I think even back in Africa, where everybody's tribe was like a community was very important.
Yeah.
And then so my mom and my dad made out the house the community.
Okay.
It's to build that community. Even though we had a lot of extended family members, but we had the community.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, as in for Black History Month, I should say that it's that community that you are. I am so proud of. I see how a lot of Black educated women. I think I've read somewhere not too long ago that the amount of Black educated women has surpassed white women. Not to create us in the division, but it's to tell you, wow.
Yeah.
So to create that wow, really, we really made it. We really had come so far to say that, and especially with technology, we have a lot of Black women that is holding position that.
Yeah.
I mean, we say 10 years or 20 years ago, you would have never heard of.
No, and there's a lot going on, like education-wise, like business. I think I'm just reading an article on a Black woman who owns her own tequila brand. Like there's information coming out every day about where like Black women are how they're striving. So it's definitely a beautiful thing to see. I think 50 years from now, there's gonna be 100 Michelle Obamas in some way, shape, or form. I don't. Obviously, there's not gonna be 100 Black women in the White House because who might have know who's gonna be there 2 years from now, 10 years from now. But I think in terms of the magnitude of women she's inspired, like they're just like, wow, I can if she can end up in the White House, I can strive to be something that's massive as well, which I think is beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful because not only that, it creating that pathway and creating that kind of like example for most women that to follow, but at the same time, it also saying that we do matter and we're here.
Yeah.
And then we do. I mean, can you imagine to have a woman, a Black woman, to be at the Supreme Court level? That is, and then we're not talking about, that is something that we just say, here, we're here and we have arrived.
Yeah.
And you said something about my culture. My mother she loves to cook and she loves to just, and I remember she used to love, especially not on Sunday, but always camboyo, which is like rice with chicken. So my mother used to make that a lot. It was, food was the happy moment. Food, that's what the gathering was. Food was all that's when we just spend our time as a family, as a community. So that's one of the things that I have to say that I have drawn into my, I would say, my family tree, and then to bring it, and you can really see it in what I do.
Yeah, it's full circle. I mean, as an event, I think as an event planner, one of the most important parts of the event is food. So like, it's full circle. That's dope.
Bringing things together.
Yep. So I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of folks who want to reach out to you. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram, Designers Devis. They can also my email. They can email me at designersdevis@gmail.com, or they can email me at www.designerdevis.com, and they can give me a call, and the number is 617-842-6299. 617-842-6299, and I cannot wait to hear from you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming through, Martine.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. It was definitely great talking to you, learning about your perspective on culture.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.